Sometimes there's gun companies that have a little bit of a comeback story. What I'm playing with today, I believe, is one of those. Alright, so it's a revolver. This is the Taurus 605 Defender. Some of you just visibly started, because I said Taurus. Others of you are probably wondering why I'm shooting one. So let's talk about it. I've been putting this thing through its paces. I'm approaching the 600 round mark. About 480-ish of those are 38 special. The rest of them have been 357. I prefer 38 out of this gun, but I think it's cool that it's chambered in 357. So let's talk about it a little bit. I'm going to talk while I'm loading. It is a 3-inch 357 Magnum with a little package, the Defender part of it. There's some things they've done to it to make it a defensive firearm, or more suitable therefore. It's a 5-shot gun. Let's see, we got 1 in the 8, 2 in the 9, no, 3 in the 8. We're going to run that again, and then we'll look at it. It's a nice little revolver. We'll run a little 5-shot drill. I'll take my time a little bit more. That's a little bit better. Okay. So, yeah, I know I'm dumping brass into my hand and into my pocket. I know that's not ideal. I gotta bend over anyway to pick up a live round I just dropped. So, a gun like this, 5 shots, some of you were saying that's not enough, but I think it is. I think it absolutely is. A little bit of flinch there. All right, so why 38 and why not 357? Oh, I pulled that one a lot. It's a 3-inch gun. It's not super light. It's not a scandium frame, air weight, or anything like that, but it's light enough, and the gun's clear. This back strap, I don't know the proper term, tang. I believe that's the tang. This coming down here on the frame and up into the tang is not covered by the Hogue rubber grip. Not the end of the world. You can shoot 357s through it, although I would say 180 grain is pushing it. The grip is very nice though. Fills the hand well, keeps it where it's supposed to be. You know what, we're just gonna go take a close look and let me go over this thing. So as I alluded to in the opening of the video, Taurus has a bit of a checkered history. They were really good, and then they went through a period where they were not so good, and then we started seeing some changes. And even if you were unaware that Brett Voorhees, formerly employed by Walther, is now the CEO of Taurus, or that they hired Caleb Giddings, champion revolver shooter, you might have noticed some things, right? The GX4, the G3s, improvement in the quality of the G2Cs, then G3Cs, and then optics ready G3s. TX22, that gun. So the TX22, I've bought 2 of them. I don't own any of them anymore. And people are like, oh, see? No. The first one I gave as a gift to a dear friend of mine. He had been lusting over one. Gave it to him as a birthday gift. The other one, I have a neighbor that is a bit older. She didn't have a gun to defend herself. A typical gun would be a little bit, a typical duty caliber gun might be a bit much for her. TX22 holds 16 rounds, a 22 long rifle. It's very easy to manipulate, very easy to shoot. So I sold that one to her. I'll get another one. I'm eyeing the TX22 compact at this point. So I'm not a stranger to Taurus, but I hadn't messed with any of their wheel guns. Some of you know that I've gotten into revolvers quite a bit over the last couple years. This fills a niche that I don't have. It's a 3-inch gun in 357 Magnum. I only have one other 3-inch gun, and that is a Ruger SP101 in 327 mag. I like that for its own reasons, that caliber. And Taurus does make stuff in 327, but today we're talking about this one. This is kind of a Goldilocks zone for a carry revolver, and that is my opinion. I don't have empirical evidence to back that up, but you get a longer sight radius than you would with something like a J-frame. You get a little bit more weight, out front, makes recoil a little bit easier to control, makes follow-up shots a little bit faster, and the balance of the gun is a little bit more natural. I don't know any other way to quantify that. So a lot of guys on YouTube in this format do seem to overinflate their round counts. I have not. This was a very pretty revolver when I got it. You can see it's got some carbon buildup and stuff. I have not cleaned it yet. And there's a drag ring. So if somebody's telling you they've got a lot of time on a revolver, and you can get that through dry fire, but always check. It's kind of like brass deflectors on ARs. If somebody's bragging about their round count and shows you a immaculate virgin brass deflector, either they just had the rifle painted or they be lying. So this is the 605 Defender. What that means, that is a Hogue grip on there. Very nice Hogue grip. And you do have a cutaway right here, which I don't have any 5-shot speed loaders, so I haven't tested that. I can use a speed strip fine and get rounds in there. And then we'll come around to the front sight, which is kind of the star of the show. It's an Ameriglo. It's a high-vis front sight with a tritium insert. So you get, trying to line these up on camera, but you get the set rear notch, which can be challenging to use, but you have a very high-vis front sight. No plain black, no plain silver. It's there. It's very natural to me. I pick it up easily, and then the tritium dot at night is cool. I would rather have it than not have it, and the fact that they include that on a gun in this price range is a big deal to me. It's inevitable that somebody's going to say, in a day and age where you can get, I got my CZ P07 over there, 15 rounds of 9mm in a gun comparable in overall size to this, why carry a 5-shot gun, or why would anybody rely on something like this, a revolver in general, for defense? I don't remember exactly who came up with it. I know I heard it from Caleb Giddings. I'm not sure if it originated with him, but revolvers have a U-shaped utility curve. Your novice gun owner over here, your more advanced or expert gun handler owner over here. Somewhere in the middle, they fall off. If I take this, for example, my mother is not huge into firearms, and if I were to give her this gun, she has one action, one very easy action to see if it's loaded or unloaded. It's empty, it's full. It's that simple. No springs. You can take your carry ammo out, put target ammo in. There's nothing impacting a feed ramp. It's that simple to see, loaded, unloaded. And then as far as using it, it's as simple as line your sights on the target, press the trigger without disturbing your sights, and the gun goes off. It's a double action gun. Yes, you can cock the hammer. No, you should not. For defensive revolver, it's a double action revolver for a reason. We had single actions that came out with double actions for a reason. We tried the whole cock at the hammer first. If you want that, get a Colt single action army. On a double action revolver, learn to shoot it double action. It means pull the trigger, and there you go. It's really not that bad of a trigger pull to get the hang of. It just requires some practice and discipline. And if you can get the hang of shooting a double action gun, you'll notice that a lot of times you become better at shooting other things. So I am obviously in the camp where I think this is still a viable option. Now you do your own risk assessment, you do your own assessment of your needs, your habits, where you're likely to be, where you live, things like that. Make your own decision. Some other advantages are this cannot be pushed out of battery. It will fire even with the muzzle pressed against something. The contours of a revolver are different than a semi-auto. There's not a lot of right angles that scream gun. The stocks on a revolver, you can change these out without interfering. You know, there's only so much you can do with a semi-auto. You can change the back strap. Some guns like the P30 and VP9, you can change the palm swells, but you're still working around the requirements for that box magazine. Not so here. There are all sorts of options to fit that revolver to you. So that's enough about revolvers in general. So back to Taurus. This gun's 23 ounces. Like I said, it's kind of a sweet spot, in my opinion, for a defensive revolver, something you can carry. It does have a lifetime warranty, which is cool. If you are somebody that has had, a modeled experience with Taurus or have only heard bad things, I'm going to link a podcast down in the description that you can find on Spotify and just listen to. Or I will also try to find the video and link that down there. It's with Matt Landfair at Primary and Secondary. And they've actually got Brett, the CEO of Taurus, and Caleb Giddings on it, kind of explaining and addressing the history of Taurus, both the good and the bad, and what they have done and what they envision for the company. I found it very illuminating. I think that they are on a right track. If you've looked at some of the products that have come out and some of the improvements that have been made with an objective, open mind, it's obvious that they are doing good things. My relationship with Taurus, I'm reviewing this, I'm not paid by them, anything like that. I am a gun guy first and foremost, and regardless of where the channel goes, I will try to keep that objective opinion for you guys, but I'm very impressed with this. I think that this is a gun that you could teach somebody on that is not ever going to be into firearms, purely looks at them as a utilitarian thing, and they want something to keep around. They want to learn how to use it to protect their home, maybe to carry it. This has a lot to recommend itself. The round count is limited. Practicing reloads would help with that, and also putting your rounds where they're supposed to go the first damn time helps with that as well. There is no magic ball that's going to tell you how many rounds you need. So again, have an honest assessment with yourself about your environment, your life. I've kind of been an apologist for the defensive revolver here lately. And again, the caveat, and I'll say it on here, for me, with what I do, where I go, I feel comfortable with 5 or 6 rounds most of the time. Do I keep a speed strip in my pocket? Yes. Is that optimistic to think that I might get to reload the revolver? Very optimistic. Part of it is I just want to have extra rounds. A lot of what I encounter isn't a 2-legged threat. It's a 4-legged threat, which is a nice segue into why, even though I will keep 38s in this, I think it's cool that it's chambered in 357. Now, obviously, if you're going to carry 357 defensively or for whatever reason, you need to practice with it. But if you wanted to have one firearm and you say, this will work, I keep 38s for carry for potential human threats, but occasionally I like to go hike with my family. Well, if you live down here where I do, 357 Magnum will take care of just about anything I'm going to find out here. Hogs, black bear. It's enough. I feel like it's enough. I'm not going to go try to score off with Kodiak Grizzly with 357 mag, but again, my use case, 357 mag should be plenty. So here you get a gun that shoots really, really nice with 38s, but you have the capability to go up to 357 Magnum if you want to or need to. So there is that. We need to shoot it some more. I want to do some slow fire. I am going to shoot it single action because y'all think that's more accurate, and we'll give that a try. We're going to do a B8 repair center at 10 yards and see what sort of accuracy we get in single action. Everybody always asks about ammo. I am using some 158 grain plated, I want to say they're Acubons, I don't remember. They're my reloads. They're loaded over Winchester 231 powder with CCI primer. So we're going to do 5 shots, single action at the top B8 repair center, and then I want to do another experiment, figure out 5 shots double action, same distance, same ammo, same gun, figure out what that looks like. All right, so our 5 single action, 5 double action. Now bear in mind, I am not 22 Plinkster. I am not Jerry Michalek. So we're going to do 5 double action on the bottom B8. Alright, here's our single action. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down here, couldn't do that again if I tried, right? Double action, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, fist and fist, I think. So, 10 yards. Now, I want to try something else to see how wad cutters shoot through it. We're going to do basically the same thing again. I'm just going to be using wad cutters instead of the other rounds. We'll do 5 rounds single action on the top, 5 rounds double action on the bottom. Again, these are my reloads. They are a 148 grain just lead wad cutter from Acme. Let's see what we get here. Single action on the top. Alright, now we'll do 5 double action on the bottom, see what that gives us. Wad cutters are a ton of fun. They have kind of a mythological reputation. It's kind of controversial. The premise behind using them defensively is that in a short barrel, if you're not going to get enough velocity to get good hollow point expansion, then go with the round. It's got a little bit sharper shoulder on it instead of the round, round nose or full metal jacket. Get something that's going to be more likely to crush, tear, cut, as opposed to moving tissue aside. So, double action on the bottom one. Alright, let's go take a peek at that. Alright, so for wad cutter single action, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, I don't know how I'm doing that, but that's cool. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Coming down here to double action, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, interesting. But you can notice, you see how it cuts a more, and this is what they were actually designed for, is cutting a more perfect circle in paper so that they're easier to score. Then some people extrapolated that and started doing some testing, and it looks like it will potentially perform the same in human tissue. Again, wad cutters are a trade-off. They are I'm not going to get hollow point expansion anyway, most likely in a short barrel. So that's what that is. Don't spend too much time wrapped around the axle about that or fighting about it in the comments. So at this point, do I recommend the Taurus 605? I see no reason not to. This gun, it's fed a variety of stuff that this gun has eaten, a wide variety of stuff that I've fed it, from 180 grain 357 down to wad cutters and relatively light loaded, just plated or full metal jacket 38s. I haven't had any issues with crimp jump with some of the lighter 357s, which I'm not typically a fan of. I like a little bit heavier bullet for my uses. It's done well. I've had reliability's been great, which it's pretty simple. Pull the trigger and it turns that and goes bang. So unless you had some kind of major malfunction, that's all there is to it. The extractor's smooth. I will say this, the ejector rod was a little gritty at first, but it is smoothed up significantly with use. It wasn't terrible, it just was a little bit grittier than I anticipated. So I'll continue shooting it, and if anything changes, I'll let you guys know. But let me know your thoughts, and again, if you're interested in kind of the U-turn that Taurus has made and where they're trying to go here in the future, I will link that primary and secondary interview / podcast down in the description. All right, guys, stay safe, and whatever you're carrying, get out and practice with it.